Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So today we are going to learn Shri Kamakshi Churnika. Okay, now Aditya will read the brief introduction about the shloka.
A Churnika is a prose work in Sanskritam, just like a shloka is a verse or poem. This is a small prose on Sri Kamakshi, and the goddess is welcomed and serenaded and heralded just as an empress is welcomed.
Ram Ram. To the next one. Okay. Now, please repeat after me. Everybody stay on mute and repeat like how Aditya is going to repeat after me. Okay, twice after what I say. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Shri Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha Shri Kamakshi Devyai Namaha. We'll repeat the first two one more time. Now we'll try to say the full words, full set of words. Shri Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha.
Shri Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha. Shri Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha.
Shri Kamakshi Devyai Namaha. Okay, let me stop sharing and share again. It looks like you guys are not able to see the second shloka. Okay, so we'll repeat again. Shri Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha.
Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha. Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha.
Shri Kamakshi Devyai Namaha. One more time. Shri Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha.
Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha. Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha.
Shri Kamakshi Devyai Namaha.
Kamakshi Devyai Namaha. Kamakshi Devyai Namaha.
We'll now say the shloka. Jaya Jaya
Jaya Jaya Jaya Jaya
Shri Kama Girindra Nilaye Jaya Jaya
Jaya Jaya
Shri Kama गिरीन्द्र
गिरीन्द्र गिरीन्द्र
निलये
निलये निलये
जय जय
जय जय जय जय
श्री
श्री श्री
कामगिरीन्द्र
कामगिरीन्द्र कामगिरीन्द्र
निलये
निलये निलये
जय जय
जय जय जय जय
श्री
श्री श्री
full sentence now कामगिरीन्द्र निलये
कामगिरीन्द्र निलये कामगिरीन्द्र निलये
now we'll say the full sentence first sentence जय जय श्री कामगिरीन्द्र निलये
जय जय श्री कामगिरीन्द्र निलये जय जय श्री कामगिरीन्द्र निलये
we move on to the next line जय जय
जय जय जय जय
श्री
श्री श्री
कामकोटि
कामकोटि कामकोटि
पीठस्थिते
पीठस्थिते पीठस्थिते
जय जय
जय जय
श्री
श्री श्री
कामकोटि
कामकोटि कामकोटि
पीठस्थिते
पीठस्थिते पीठस्थिते
the full sentence now जय जय श्री कामकोटि पीठस्थिते
जय जय श्री कामकोटि पीठस्थिते जय जय श्री कामकोटि पीठस्थिते
Okay, now we'll say everything from the beginning. I will say one sentence and you repeat twice after me. Shri Chandramaulishwaraya Namaha.
श्री चन्द्रमौलीश्वराय नमः श्री चन्द्रमौलीश्वराय नमः
श्री कामाक्षी देव्यै नमः
श्री कामाक्षी देव्यै नमः श्री कामाक्षी देव्यै नमः
जय जय श्री कामगिरीन्द्र निलये
जय जय श्री कामगिरीन्द्र निलये जय जय श्री कामगिरीन्द्र निलये
जय जय श्री कामकोटि पीठस्थिते
जय जय श्री कामकोटि पीठस्थिते जय जय श्री कामकोटिपीठस्थिते.
Going through the story of the crows cleverly getting rid of the snake that was eating their eggs. Okay. And what was the moral we learned from that story? We said it's even a very powerful enemy can be destroyed through intelligence. Okay, just because the enemy is very powerful and maybe more powerful than we are, doesn't mean we should be sit idle or we should be afraid and do nothing. We should use our intelligence and try to overcome the enemy. Okay, so all these stories, this story was told by Damanaka to Karataka. The two jackals were talking to each other, and Damanaka told Karataka that now that Sanjeevaka is spending a lot of time with the king Pingalaka, and Pingalaka has become softer in nature. Pingalaka the lion has become softer in nature, stopped hunting animals and not bringing any meat for all the other animals to have their food, their share. So many animals in the kingdom which are dependent on the lion king to kill some prey and bring the meat so they can also have some food. All of those animals are now starving. So Karataka and Damanaka said it will come up with a plan to separate these two friends, Pingalaka the lion and Sanjeevika the Damanaka is not convinced and is worried that their lives will be in danger if they try to do something and Pingalaka the lion does not like it and realizes they are trying to do some mischief. So Damanaka keeps telling these stories one after the other, saying, even though our enemy is stronger, by applying our intelligence, by thinking through cleverly, we should be able to get over the situation. That is when Damanaka told the crows and the cobra, and how the crows cleverly got rid of the cobra. So saying, Damanaka also said, again, when Karataka is still unconvinced, well, intelligence always comes in very handy. Haven't you heard the story of the crab, the craftier or came the crafty crane? And as always, Karataka said, well, Karataka is, um, you know, and Damanaka is full of stories. Okay, so Karataka, tell me what is that? Who is that crane? Who is that crab? What happened? How did the crab, overcome the crane? So Damanaka started telling the story, and the story goes like this: once upon a time, deep in the forest, in a jungle, there was a lake full of water, and the lake has a lot of aquatic animals like the fish, the frogs, crabs, all those, and the lake also has a crane, and the crane used to hunt in the water and catch some fish or a frog or a crab, and the crane used to eat them, and it used to live like that. But after a while, the crane started becoming old, and it's not able to move fast, quick enough to catch hold of the fast moving fish or the frogs. So it's starving. So then one day it started thinking, what should I do? I'm going to die out of starvation. So what can I do? Then it came up with a very devious plan. Devious means very wicked plan. and it thought, okay, let me scare these animals or these fish and other creatures in the lake and fool them. Let me cheat them, and I will eat them one by one by fooling them. So it sat on the edge of the lake as if it's very worried and sad, and it's not moving at all. All the fish and the crabs and um, the frogs, they saw this crane, and they have never seen this crane so worried. So all those aquatic animals came near, and the crab. So the crab asked the crane, "What happened? Why are you so sad? Why are you crying? We have never seen you so sad and sitting like that." So the crane said, "Well, the other day when I was going around, I met a man who tells the future, who can see into the, and he said this lake is going to become dry in the next few days, and I'm very worried about all of you. What will happen to all of you? Because when the lake gets dry, all of you will get exposed to the heat, and you will all die. And you're all my friends, and I'm really worried about all of you." So then really got started, feeling worried, and it went to all the other creatures in the lake, and passed on the message saying, the lake is going to get dry because of the hot weather, and we are going to die pretty soon. This is what the crane heard from this wise man. So all the creatures asked to go back to the crane and find out what could be done. What could be done? What can we do? How can we save our lives? So the crab went back to the crane and asked, "What should we do? Please tell us. Please find out from the wise man what we should do so we can all live happily." Then the crane said, "Well, I already asked about it, and there is another lake a little far away from here, and that lake has a lot more water than this, and that lake will not get dry. So to that lake, and if you can also come with me." But then the crab said, "Well, the fish, the frogs, and the friends, the crabs, we cannot come flying. So what should we do? Please help us. Don't leave us alone." Then the crane said, "Okay, let me see. Maybe what I can do is take you and all your friends one by one to the bigger lake, and then I lake, and you can live happily there because that lake is not going to get dried up." So saying, the crane started imagining. The crane started imagining about all the fish, the frogs, the little snakes, and the crabs it's going to get as its meal if all these creatures agree to its plan. So the crab went and relayed this message to all the other water creatures, and they had no other go, right? Either they have to agree to this plan or stay there, stay back in this lake, and when the lake gets dried, they'll all die. So they all agreed, and the crane started carrying, one fish after the other on its back or in its beak, and carrying them to the supposedly the new lake, which was very big, huge. It has a lot of water, and it's not going to get dry. But what happened? This crane, after carrying the fish for some distance, it got onto the land, and placed the fish on a huge rock it found, and it started eating the fish. So it is hungry, it used to go to the lake, carry one fish or a frog, and start flying, and go to this rock, put them on the rock, and start eating. So for a few days, the crane is really happy, and coming back to the lake, the crane used to tell them, well, your friends are really happy there. There's a lot of water, and they have a lot more space to swim around. They're happier than when they were here. So one day, the crab, it was waiting to get its turn, but it's not getting its turn. So it came to the crane and said, crane, can you please take me to the other lake? I've been waiting, and you have been carrying the fish, the frogs, the little snakes, the turtle and all, but not me. Can you please take me the next time, you go? The crane said, okay. Then it started thinking, well, this is really good. I've been, I'm getting bored eating the same food again and again and again. Now I'll get some crab meat, right? So thinking like that, it carried the crane, and the crane carried the crab on its back, because the crab is bigger than the fish, right? So it carried the crab on its back, and while flying and on its way, the crab got restless and said, how long, how much more distance do we have to go? I can't see any lake around here. Then the crane said, since they are a little far away from the original lake, the crane got bolder and said, well, there is no lake. There is no second lake. I just lied to you. I am getting free meal from all of you guys. And as soon as the crab heard this, down to escape, but it saw the huge rock, and on the rock were a lot of skeletons, bones from the fish that the crane already ate. So now the crab understood what was happening, and it said, well, crane, I'm really getting worried. I may fall down. Can I please hold on to your neck? And the crane, without thinking and only imagining about how good its lunch is going to be with crab meat and all, agreed to it. And the crab, it moved forward, held on to the crane's neck, and started squeezing it with its, those sharp hands, and squeezed the neck of the crane. And pretty soon, the crane's neck got cut, and the crane fell down and died. And the crab, with all its strength, started crawling back to the original lake. And all the fish, the frogs, and the snakes, and the turtles, they were very surprised and asked the crab, what happened? What happened? Then the crabs retold everything that happened, and assured them that it had killed the crafty crane, and now the lake is not going to get dry, and we can all live happily here. Now I got rid of the crane. So saying that, correct, all the, after listening to what the crab had done, all the water creatures really got really happy, and they thanked the crab. So this way, the moral of the story here is, when things go wrong, when we should use our, meaning our intelligence, to overcome the situation, because intelligence is power, and there is nothing in the world that intelligence control. So that's what Damanaka told Karataka. And it also said, if we can play on the ego of others, yeah, because some people are really egoistic, some people are very proud of themselves. Now, when we play on their ego, then they will really forget reasoning. They will really forget logic, and then they'll become slaves to their ego and act very hastily, and they'll destroy themselves. So, using our intelligence, we should be able to overcome any difficult situation, just as the hare did to the lion, said Damanaka. So, all these cryptic that Damanaka says, increase the interest in Karataka, and Karataka asked, what did the hare did? What did the hare do to the lion? Can you please tell me that story? What is it that you are talking about that we should play on the ego of others? Please tell me that story also, so I'll get assurance that we can really overcome the situation through our intelligence. Then Damanaka started telling the story of the hare and the lion. Okay. So once upon a time in a jungle, there was this lion king and a lot of animals, the hares, deers, the buffaloes and whatnot, jackals and all. The lion king, it got really, really, and it was very proud of itself, and it felt, well, these are all my subjects. Subjects means my citizens, my people. I can do anything to them. So because all it was doing was killing one animal, catching, eating it, but it's not getting any enjoyment out of it. So it said, why don't I kill whoever I see every day? Then it started killing whichever animal it started seeing first thing in the morning, and it started killing a lot of jackals, lot of bears, lot of other animals, hares, monkeys, everything that it sees in the morning. So all the animals started getting worried because their clans, their families are getting wiped out. Until recently, only one or two of their, family or friends or in the neighborhood used to get caught by the lion, and know, they used to understand that because they, lions are uh, bound to kill one or two animals, eat them and all. It's all natural justice, they understood. But the lion king started killing too many animals, and their families are getting wiped out very soon, and they are not getting a chance to raise any more family. So they got really worried, and they got pulled all the courage they could muster. They came to the Lion King and prayed to the Lion King. They sat on their knees and prayed to the Lion King, asking, "Oh Lord, oh my Lord, the Lion King, please listen to our request." Then the lion said, "Oh, what is it? What are you here for? I am going to kill you all if you don't get away from here." Then the animals, in one voice, requested. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think a video is not coming, but I'm sharing this presentation, so hopefully this should be all right for now, and we'll proceed. So all the animals in one voice requested the Lion King, and what they requested was this: "O King, you started recently killing many animals, and our families are getting wiped out. Pretty soon, if you continue like this, pretty soon there won't be any animal left, and you will have nothing to eat." So we all discussed about it, and we want to present you one plan. What we'll do is every day, one of us will send one of us to you. You eat us, and then you leave the remaining of us. The next day again, we'll send one more animal to you. Continue hunting or doing whatever you like. Please understand the situation. Please have mercy on us. Then the Lion King started thinking. One thing that it really liked was, yes, if I keep continuing seeing animals like this at this rate, pretty soon the whole forest or jungle will be cleaned up of all animals, and I'll also have to die. So thinking like that, it said, okay, that's fine. But then, you have to send one animal in the morning, and if you do not send on time, I am going to come and kill all of you. Then the animal said, okay, that's fine, King. Thank you very much for accepting our request. and we take leave of you. We'll send an animal every morning. So you don't have to come after us. So saying, all the animals left, and one after the other, every day they used to pick one animal among them and prepare them for a few days and send that animal to the Lion King. The Lion King used to eat that animal as its food. But one day, what happened was, it was the turn of a hare. Hare is basically a rabbit. A rabbit's turn came to go the next morning, and the bears, the monkeys, all the other jackals, and all the other animals tried to convince the hare to go to the lion. And they said, this is part of our life in the jungle. Don't worry, today you go, yesterday your uncle went, and tomorrow one of us will go there. So don't worry about it. This is all part of life. You will be, I think they probably said, you'll be born again, not and all. But then the hare is really worried. So all day, the hare is really worried and very sad. And then it started thinking, how can I put a break? How can I stop this cruel thing? So thinking like that, because the hare is very clever, it started thinking and devising a plan. So then it started thinking through, visualizing the plan, and it slept happily that night. Although it has some tension, it slept happily that night, and in the morning, it did not go at the time that its other animals told him to go. So it delayed. It went to the lion after a long delay. The lion was getting really irritated. Lion really got mad and started scolding, saying, started shouting at the rabbit, this hare, saying, "What happened? Why did you come so late? I'm really angry. I'll eat you, and I'll also eat all your other families and all the other animals. What made you come so late here? What on the earth did stop you?" So the hare, it was very trembling. It was trembling, and oh my lord! Actually, what happened was, and then it started looking back. Yeah, the way the path, looking at the path it came on. So the lion got really surprised. What is this? It is looking back. It is very worried. I thought it is worried about me, but it's actually looking behind it. So it asked, the Lion King asked the hare, "What happened? Why are you looking back? Why are you so trembling? Why are you shaking? What happened to you?" Then the hare said, "Well, sir, on the way here, I came across a very strange animal, which was really making very loud sound, and it's shouting that, I am going to be the king of this jungle. I came from another jungle. I am going to take over this jungle, and you all have to listen to me." And its growls, its roars are really frightening, and I don't know what to do. Then the lion really got interested. Said, "Who is that? Who did you see? Where did that animal come from? What kind of an animal is it?" "Well, sir, it is huge, and it's really talking bad about all the animals here, and it said that nobody can defeat him, and it's the strongest on earth, and it's going to overtake this, take over this jungle." So, and it also said, "If you have a king, let me know. I'm going to defeat that king, and I'll take over this jungle, and you'll all be my subjects." Then the Lion King really got mad, and it said, "No, I'm the strongest here. Who told you that there is another animal that is stronger?" Then the hare said, "Well, I really saw this animal on the way here." Then the Lion King said, "No, I think you are telling lies to escape from me." Then the hare said, "Well, sir, you can actually have me now or later. Doesn't matter to me, because I'm going to die anyway. Either you will eat me or the other animal will come and eat me. Doesn't matter to me, but because since you are my king, our king, I wanted to warn you that there is another dangerous animal in this forest, in this jungle." So then the Lion King really got interested and said, okay, can you show me where it is? I know there is no other animal that is stronger than me. I'm going to kill it. So saying, the Lion King really asked the hare to take him to that strange animal that the hare is talking about. The hare said, okay, sir, please follow me. I'll take you to this uh, strange animal. Then while taking the lion to that place, the hare, it came upon a well. So when it came upon a well, it said, I saw this strange animal near here, sir, my lord, and I think as soon as it saw you, it went into the well and hid there. Why don't we look in there? And then the hare went to the well, looked into the well and said, oh, sir, please come here, my lord. I can see this animal hiding here. I think it's going to pounce on you like anything. Please, let us run away, run away. Then it's like playing on the ego of the lion, right? So the hare said, let us both run away because this animal is going to come up very fast out of the well and pounce on us. Then the Lion King said, no, who is this? Let me see. And it stood on the rim of the well and looked down. And what happened? It saw another huge lion staring back at himself. So, and it roared, looking at the lion. Who is this? Another lion, and that is looking bigger than me. Because sometimes when our reflections can seem bigger than our original size, right? So that's what happened. And it saw its own reflection in the water in the well. And when it roared, because of the echo sound, even louder sound came out of the well, as if the another lion in the well roared back. And the Lion King really got really mad, really angry, and said, I'm going to kill this lion that is roaring back at me. And so saying, the Lion King jumped into the well. And what happens? Its head got crushed by hitting the floor of the well, and it died in the well itself. So the hare, seeing all this, happily went back to all the other animals, told what happened, what it did, what happened to the cruel Lion King, and they lived happily ever after. So by playing on the ego of the lion, right? By playing on the ego of the lion, the hare was able to save himself and all its fellow animals out of the danger that the Lion King posed. Now, the Lion King, because of its ego, because of its cruel nature, arrogance, it brought upon its own demise, its own defeat. So, the moral of this story is we should use our intelligence very, very carefully because when someone is powerful and they're also reckless or foolish, that's a very dangerous combination. And pride or ego, it will always bring upon our destruction. We should not be overly proud of ourselves. We should not be egoistic, and we should not be arrogant, because being intelligent anybody will be able to take over us by playing upon our pride or ego. So we should be very careful and make sure we do not fall prey to such vices. Vices means bad habits, bad characteristics. So saying, Damanaka tried to comfort Karataka, saying, I'm going to play upon the ego of Pingalaka and Sanjeevaka. But then Karataka is not convinced yet, and it said, well, the rabbit was successful, luckily. It's an exceptional case. I don't think it's going to happen each and every time, right? Because somebody who is not strong should never venture against strong people, strong men. So because we are weak, Pengalaka, the Lion King, is strong. So be very careful. Think 10 times, not just once, not twice. Think 10 times before you venture with your plan. Okay. But then Damanaka, right? Damanaka is full of stories. It always has something to say, something to convince Karataka, something to cover up for whatever Karataka tells him. So then Damanaka said, well, unceasing efforts. Unceasing efforts means when we keep on trying without stopping, and when if we are courageous, even though we are weak or if we are frightened, even the gods will help us. Even the gods will help those who keep on trying and who put in all the efforts to succeed. So even gods will help people who keep on trying. Haven't you heard of the weaver who was helped by Lord Vishnu and Garuda? And again, another story is coming up, and Karataka got really interested. And so it asked, okay, can you please tell me what this story is about? And Damanaka started saying, unceasing efforts produce success, right? So once upon a time in a kingdom lived a weaver. A weaver is one who weaves clothes, and a carpenter. They are two handsome young people, and they used to wake up in the morning and work 9-10 hours a day, very focusedly, very dedicatedly, doing whatever they are good at. And they used to produce, weaver used to produce good cloth, and carpenter used to produce good furniture, good tools, and they used to make good money. They used to come back and sit. They used to live. They were neighbors. They used to live next to each other. And after they came back in the evening, they used to get dressed well and go into the city square downtown. And they used to spend some time, enjoy, have fun, come back, and then get ready for go to bed and get ready for the next day. So while doing so, one evening after their work, when they went into the downtown, lot of fun and frolic was happening. Some festival was going on, and the weaver saw in the balcony of a huge palace a beautiful girl, the princess, a beautiful girl, and he was watching her only all the time they were in the downtown. The carpenter went around, met friends, he was having fun, but the weaver, he really got started liking this young girl, and he didn't move from that place, and he was just watching that girl. So after the carpenter came back, and they both came back home, the weaver did not eat. He was just thinking about this beautiful girl, and he looks, he really fell in love with this beautiful girl, and he has been thinking about her, and he couldn't sleep. He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. He has been thinking about her, and he has been thinking about how to get to know her and make friends with her and marry her and lead the rest of his life with her. So he completely, was full of the thoughts about that princess. So the next morning, the carpenter woke up, got ready, and knocked on the door, but the weaver didn't open the door. So the carpenter then knocked really hard and woke him up, and then saw that the weaver is not ready yet. So he asked for the reason, and the weaver was very shy to tell. But looking at his face, the carpenter really could make up, could understand what was happening. And he said, well, my friend, I think you look, so sleepless, so tired. So this is all because of you probably might have seen somebody yesterday evening and you might have fallen in love with her. Who is that? Tell me. If there is a way I can help, I will definitely help. Tell me. Don't hesitate. Don't be shy. So when the carpenter brought the topic, The weaver then opened up and explained to him what happened, who he saw, and all. Then the carpenter said, "Well, so the carpenter he could make out that the weaver is in love, and that's why he had a sleepless night, and he asked the weaver, I think you are in love with somebody. Who is that? Don't feel shy. Let me know. If I can help, I will help." So the weaver then, now that his friend knew what the reason was, he opened up and explained to him what happened ever since last evening. And then the carpenter said, "Well, I am a carpenter. You are a weaver. That girl is a princess, the daughter of the king of the land. How do you think this will happen? How do you think you can meet her? How do you think you can convince the king and marry her?" But then the weaver said, "Well, I think I have to try, and I'll have to marry her. Otherwise, I don't have any future. I don't think I can live without her." Well, then the carpenter, looking at the determination of the weaver, the carpenter said, "Okay, let me come up with a plan. You get ready. Let's go out, do our work, and I'll come up with a plan on what you should do." So the carpenter, thought a lot, long and hard, and he came up with a tool. That evening, he came to the weaver and said, "Okay," and he brought a wooden eagle that he made all day, and that eagle had lot of plugs, and he told, "I made a miracle eagle, wooden toy. You can sit on this, and then when you pull this plug, it will take you wherever you want to go. So get on this eagle, get on this toy bird, and go in this evening, go to the palace." And I also inquired about the palace. The princess spends most of the time alone, singing, learning different things, and all. After sunset, the princess spends time alone. So you may go on this, and you can introduce yourself and try your luck. Okay, you can try your luck. So saying, the carpenter gave the weaver that wooden eagle. Sharmaji, can I continue for a few minutes or?
Yeah, please continue. Yeah, no problem. We'll finish this story and then we can end
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So the weaver is really happy, and he got on. He got really dressed up very well, and since it is the eagle, the carpenter actually, when he gave the eagle toy, he also said, I heard that the princess is very God fearing, is very religious, and likes gods, does a lot of pujas and all puja. So since I am giving you this eagle, and who is the Lord of the eagle? Whose vehicle is eagle? Lord Vishnu. So why don't you get dressed like Vishnu, sit on this eagle and go, and then you will have a chance to convince her. So that evening, the weaver really got dressed, put on a lot of nice clothes, beautiful clothes, put on some ornaments, and he got hold of a conch and also a disc, right? Sudarshana Chakra, and he got some garlands and got ready. And after sunset, when it is dark, when it became dark, he sat on the wooden eagle and pulled the plug that the carpenter advised. And very surprisingly, to his own amazement, the toy bird started flying up, and then the weaver thought where to go, and sensing the weaver's thoughts, the toy bird took him to the palace, and also actually took him to the princess quarter. It's kind of dark all around. The princess was singing songs all alone, and the princess saw a bird approaching the balcony of her quarters, and she was really surprised to see and then she hid behind the one of the pillars in her huge hall. And the weaver got down in the balcony and got into the princess quarters. And the princess was amazed to see Lord Vishnu walking towards her. And she was really, first she was really worried, she was really frightened, but then after seeing that it was actually Lord Vishnu, because she is very pious, very devotional, and she has been praying a lot. So she came half step forward, and when the weaver saw that the princess is a little apprehensive, the weaver went to the princess, introduced himself as, well, I am Vishnu. I heard your prayers and I came to take you with me because you're actually Lakshmi, goddess Lakshmi, and you came because of some strange reason, you came to earth, and I'm going to take you with me. And so saying, the weaver, convinced her, and he said, I'm going to marry you now, just as gods marry in heaven. So saying that, and the princess really got really convinced, and because she is very, very God fearing and does puja, she likes Vishnu, she agreed. So they kept on talking, and the weaver married her according to the procedure that the gods follow in heaven. So now they are husband and wife. So the weaver spent time with the princess and then left in the early hours of the morning, saying he'll come back again, convince, tell everything to her father, the king, and take her along with him pretty soon. Then the weaver went back to his house. But what happened was, at dawn, after the night passed, a couple of guards saw somebody going out of the princess quarters, and they came and checked and saw that the princess was really sleepless, and they sensed that some man came into the princess quarters. So they went and told the queen, and the queen got really worried. She came and asked her daughter, and her daughter told everything that happened. And the queen really thought the princess really became mad. And so thinking, the queen went to the king and explained everything that happened and what the gods people said. So the king then immediately went to the princess and asked her, what happened? Who is that guy who came to your quarters last night? I heard many different stories. Then the princess explained everything to her father, the king. But then the king was not convinced. And he said, no, that won't happen. You are born to us. And I don't think you are goddess Lakshmi in previous birth. Somebody is trying to fool you and all. Then the princess said, okay, why don't you stand behind the curtains here and observe. This evening, Lord Vishnu will come again. And then if you will be convinced, just as I am convinced. Then the king and the queen agree to that. And that evening, the weaver comes again, dressed again as the Lord Vishnu. Okay. And the king and the queen see in amazement, and they're really surprised, and they're full of happiness, full of joy, and they don't know, how they are going to spread this message to the whole world. And they went back to their quarters. And the next day it happened like this. That day, fourth day, and all, the king was full of joy, and he stopped taking good care of his kingdom because he is full of joy and all. Then one day, this king was actually a Samanta king of Satrap, Samanta king for an emperor. So the emperor's tax collectors, they came to this king and said, well, hey king, you forgot sending this year's tax to the king. So the king, our emperor, asked us to collect the tax from you. What happened? Why did you not pay this year's tax on time? Then this king really got arrogant, because now his son-in-law is Lord Vishnu. Now he can become the emperor himself. Why should he care for the emperor, right? So thinking like that, he said, I don't care for the emperor. I'm going to, defeat him, ask him to shut his mouth and forget about all this. I'm going to come one day and take over all the kingdoms under him. So saying and abusing the messengers, the tax collectors, the king sent them away. These people, they went back to the emperor and told the emperor, when something like this happens, what happens? The messengers, they add some more things that, this person hasn't said. And they really raise the anger quotient in the emperor. So the emperor really got angry, mad, and said, okay, we should not let this continue happening. So I should go declare war on this kingdom and defeat him. Otherwise, what will happen? Each and every other Samanta king will also start behaving like this, and then I will not be respected anymore. So thinking, the emperor declared war against this king and came for fighting with this king, for a battle with this king. This king got the news about this, and he was ready. He was thinking the Lord Vishnu will come and rescue him. So he went to his daughter and said, well, this is what happened. The emperor now came to fight with us. Please ask my son-in-law, your husband, Lord Vishnu, to help me defeat this emperor. So, and the princess said, okay, that's not a big problem. This evening when Lord Vishnu comes, I'll tell him. So that evening, Lord Vishnu comes, flying on his eagle, and the princess tells him what all happened. Now, what happens? The weaver is in a dilemma. What should I do now? I am not Lord Vishnu, and if I tell that, I'm going to, the king is going to kill me. But if I say, okay, I'm Lord Vishnu, I'll help you, the emperor is going to kill me anyway. So what am I going to do? What are my options here, right? So the weaver kept thinking and said, well, either way, I'm going to get killed. So it is better to be killed in the battlefield, trying to solve this problem that I created for myself, rather than being frightened and succumbing to my fears. So I should be bold and courageous and try and die in the battlefield. So saying, the weaver said, okay, don't worry, ask your father to go into the battlefield. I'm going to come and kill the emperor with my Sudarshana Chakra. So he says that, and princess goes back to her father and passes on the message. Now, see, whatever we think, we do, we say, the gods will be listening to all this. The gods will be listening to all this. So what happened was, Garuda, the actual king, actual eagle, that is the vehicle of Lord real Vishnu, he heard this, and then he was worried, and then went to Lord Vishnu and said, oh Lord, something dangerous is happening, some weird things are happening on earth. And then Lord Vishnu, I should show you this. Okay. So Lord Vishnu, when he heard this, said, what happened? Don't worry, calm down. Tell me what is happening. So Garuda said, sir, oh my lord, oh God, this is what happened. This is the story. And this weaver promised that, he will come and kill the emperor. But this is just a normal weaver. He is just a normal weaver. He is not going to win this battle. But so then Lord Vishnu said, so what? He let him be defeated. That's fine. He was really foolish. Okay. But then Garuda said, well, sir, there is a problem for us, because everybody believes he is Lord Vishnu. And if Lord Vishnu is defeated by a normal king or normal emperor on earth, then everybody will stop praying to you. Everybody will stop believing that there is God. Everybody will stop believing that, having faith in you, having faith in your powers. So now we are in a fix. We have to go and do something. Please don't neglect this. Don't think that this is a small problem. Then Lord Vishnu is really started thinking and said, oh yeah, this is a really clever thing of the weaver. And what Garuda says is correct. I should really rescue him. And thinking that, Lord Vishnu said, okay, this weaver is very clever and he is also courageous. So God always favors the courageous people, right? So next day in the battle, when the weaver went to fight with the enemy army, Garuda entered the wooden eagle toy, and that eagle toy became real Garuda. And Vishnu's powers entered the weaver. And the Sudarshan Chakra, the toy Sudarshan Chakra that the weaver was carrying became real Sudarshan Chakra. And the weaver killed the emperor with his Sudarshan Chakra. And all the Samanta kings that came along with the emperor, when they saw this, they immediately came to the prince's father, the king, and kneeled down in front of him and said, from today, you are our emperor. Please save us. Please forgive us for siding with the emperor. All of us, without our emperor, without the current emperor, we are all left clueless. We are all, we don't have the strength to fight you. You have Lord Vishnu on your side. So we'll all be your Samantas from today. Please forgive us and please save our lives. So saying, all of them pleaded with the king, and the king was very happy, and he became the emperor for that all the kingdoms around in that area, in that region. So what happened is basically the weaver, with his clever thinking, with the help of his carpenter friend, with unceasing efforts, and even though he was afraid of the army of the emperor and all, he never stopped. He did not stop trying, and that is why they say the gods befriend a man who climbs determination's height. We should be very determined, not determined slightly, not determined averagely. We should go to the maximum extent of our determination. And when we, with determination, with focus, with concentration, we keep trying, even gods will help us overcome our problems. And I'll end today's session, story session, with this last moral, with this last quotation, saying, courage gets rewarded. Courage gets rewarded. And what is courage? Courage is acting boldly despite having fears. Yes, every one of us will have our own fears. It doesn't, courage does not mean we should not have any fears. Even if we have fears, we should act boldly, and our courage will always get rewarded, just as the weaver is rewarded with the help of Lord Vishnu. So saying all these stories, Damanaka tried to assuage, tried to comfort Karataka. And what happens next, we'll tell in other stories tomorrow. Thank you very much. We covered 3 stories today. The
First one
was, the next one. The first one was the crafty crane and the craftier crab. So basically, all stories today cover one main moral that says intelligence. Okay, with intelligence we can overcome any difficult situation. With intelligence we can overcome any enemy. Even if we are not strong, even if we are weak, and our enemy is strong, we should be able to get over our enemy or difficult situation by using our intelligence and by not losing our mind. So when things go wrong, we should use awareness, our intelligence, to overcome the situation, and there is nothing in the world that intelligence cannot control. The second story, the hare and the lion, we remember the rabbit overcame the danger of the crazy Lion King, and by telling him a story and making the lion look at its own shadow, and he played on the pride of the lion and overcame the lion, and the lion fell into the well, trying to overcome another animal that it thought is much more powerful than himself. So we have to use our intelligence very carefully. And here what happened? The lion, it has power, and it was reckless and foolish also. And it was very arrogant. It has too much pride. Having some pride is good, but being egoistic, it will cause our destruction. Okay, that is the moral we gain from here. And the last story, we talked about the weaver and the weaver who loved the princess. So
I have a question.
yeah. Just a second. Unceasing efforts, meaning we should not stop trying. Try, and try again until we succeed, because the bold people, courageous people who do not stop trying will always succeed. And if enough, when we keep trying with determination, God and the environment around us will help us for us to succeed. All the conditions around us will help us succeed, just as Lord Vishnu of the weaver. Befriend a man who climbs, right? We should great determination, never let go of our trials, and then we'll efforts. Even though we are afraid, we should take a step forward by being intelligent and courageous. So our courage always gets us rewards. These are the morals we learned from the 3 stories today.
So the weaver, when the weaver just lied that he was Vishnu, but he was the god. He lied that he was Vishnu. So why did God favor the one who lied, the weaver who lied?
Okay,
Very good question. I'm glad you asked it. Now here, he lied it not with the intent to cheat them. He lied because he was in love with genuine love. I will be able to tell the truth and all, but
But sometimes the stories are made up to give you something, some other message, in that they may try to say these things like but the what they wants to show in this particular story is not just lie is correct or something. Look for something and try, and then try to attempt that and put some courage on it, and then carry that courage to achieve that. And when you are having that courage to carry the, as Lakshmikant said, like environment and the God will help. But certainly, yes, lie is true, not correct, and not supposed to help it. But these kind of stories will give you a different message for.
And his courage, and between the two options he was faced with, one is telling that he is not Vishnu, and then dying in the hands of the king, or trying to defeat the emperor and then dying in that process. So he chose the more courageous.
You, along with the intelligence and effort and courageous, all three will make you to achieve. So I think that is the message. But yeah, true, that is the lie is not supposed to help, but story
Right.
is a different it is not touched upon that part.
Very good question.
Got it.